Thank you for tuning in and welcome to this week's video. This week we're looking at a sarcophagus lid depicting the Last Judgment, and here are the 7 things you should remember about this sarcophagus lid. Number 1, it represents the Last Judgment, which is in relation to this Sunday's reading, Matthew chapter 25, and it's a lid that's kept in the New York Metropolitan Museum of Art. Number 2, sarcophagus means flesh eater in Greek, and sarcophagi were actually used primarily by the Etruscans and the Greeks, but then it's a tradition that the Romans took over as well. And Christian sarcophagi developed on a large scale after 313, when the Emperor Constantine the Great decreed official toleration of Christianity, and that's really when you start seeing these Christian depictions on sarcophagi. Number 3, the composition itself. So at the center you see Christ, and he is represented there as a teacher philosopher with a beard and working a pallium, which is the word for mantle in antiquity, and he's sitting there with a scroll bundle at his feet. Then to his right you have 8 sheep, which he welcomes with a warm gaze and a gentle pat. You can see the affection there. And then to his left there are 5 goats, which actually he rejects, and you can see his raised hand sort of steering them away. And then to both of the ends of the sarcophagus lid you can see the traditional decorative motifs, which are often found in funerary art, which are the stylized acanthus leaves and scrolls. And these motifs would have been used for Christian and non-Christian sarcophagi alike. And then to wrap it all up, you see the trees in the background, which create that sort of pastoral paradisiac setting, which is common in salvation imagery in early Christian art. Then number 4, this scene is one of the earliest known symbolic representations of the Last Judgment. So you can see the goats, which Christ is actually steering away. They usually symbolize evil, because goats were believed to be insatiably lustful and were therefore associated with the devil. And then the sheep are one of the commonest symbols of the faithful. And so in the iconography of the Last Judgment, the goats symbolize the wicked, whilst the sheep and the lamb stand for the righteous. A 5th interesting point worth noting is that the first centuries of the Christian era were a time of cultural experimentation. And what I mean with that is that often, quite naturally, artists and craftsmen from these early Christian times would borrow imagery from the repertoire of the pagan and imperial Rome. So you can see how Christ is depicted is still sort of slightly clumsy. You still have the acanthus leaves there, and a lot of Christian imagery that would have been used at later stages to depict the Last Judgment is not yet present here. And that is also mainly due that the same workshops sometimes produced these sarcophagi lids for both Christian and non-Christian clients at the end of the day. A 6th point worth noting is that this sarcophagus lid was once in the Roman collections of Count Grégoire Stroganov, who died in 1910. And of course the Stroganov were these sort of illustrious, renowned and powerful Russian dynasty. And yes, when you think of beef stroganoff, that would have indeed been sort of coming and derived from and named after that family. And then the 7th point is that Pope Francis says on the Last Judgment, he said, "Dear brothers and sisters, may looking at the Last Judgment never frighten us, rather may it impel us to live the present better." Thank you very much for watching, and we look forward to welcoming you to next week's video. Thank you.